Welcome to Section 3, Big Picture Goal Setting. This is where your vision stops being abstract and starts becoming real. Before we go into the steps, I want you to take a moment and breathe because what you're about to do is powerful. You're not just setting goals today, you're mapping out the future God has entrusted to you. One of the greatest truths about vision is this: clarity creates movement. When you know where you're going, you stop drifting and you start building. But here's what often happens: people carry these big dreams in their heart, dreams about the life they want, the impact they desire, the abundance they feel called to, but they treat those dreams like distant wishes. They hope they'll happen someday, but there's no structure, no timeline, no direction to guide them forward. Vision without strategy becomes frustration, but vision with structure becomes destiny. And that's exactly what we're doing in this section, bringing structure to your God given future. I want you to imagine your life like a beautiful, expansive blueprint. Every master builder begins with the big picture, the finished design. Before laying a single brick, they don't guess, they don't hope, they don't build blindly. They start with the end in mind, and then they reverse engineer every step needed to get there. That's what we're about to do together. In a moment, we're going to walk through a simple but deeply transformative process. It will take your dream, the vision God has placed inside you, and break it down into steps that actually walk it out. In this section, I'm going to guide you through seeing the full 10-year vision for your life, breaking it into 5-year milestones, narrowing it down into 1 to 2 year priorities, and finally, translating it into 90-day actionable steps. This is how you take a dream and turn it into a roadmap. This is how you move from wishing to building. And here's the part I want you to really hear: you are not doing this alone, you are doing this with God. When you allow Him to shape your goals, your timelines, and your direction, your vision becomes aligned with His purpose. And that's when supernatural momentum begins to unfold. There's also a practical side to this work, because if you don't break your vision down, life will always feel overwhelming. But when you take something massive, like a 10-year dream, and break it down into clear, manageable steps, everything becomes achievable. You stop asking, how will I ever get there? And you start asking, what's my next step? Today's exercises will help you map out 4 core areas of your life. These are relationships and environment, calling and contribution, spiritual growth and identity, and don't forget about the last one: adventure and expansion. These categories give structure to your vision. So you're building a whole life, not just one piece of it. And I want to encourage you: don't hold back, don't shrink, don't limit God. This is your time to dream boldly, write freely, and imagine your life without restriction. As we move into the teaching, I will walk you through each step, starting with the end in mind, reverse engineering your milestones, defining your priorities, and finally creating your 90-day goals. So take a deep breath, open your heart, and let's begin shaping the blueprint of the next decade of your life. Because when you break your vision down into clear steps, your vision stops feeling far away and you begin to realize that you are already walking toward it. One of the biggest mistakes people make with vision is treating it like a wish list, something they hope will happen someday, without ever breaking it down into clear, actionable steps. But here's the truth: big dreams are built in small steps. And if you can reverse engineer your vision, you can create a roadmap that takes you from where you are to exactly where God has called you to be. So let's start with this. Step one: start with the end in mind. The first step is to start at the finish line. Ask yourself, what does the fully manifested vision of my life look like 10 years from now? Don't play small here, dream big. Dream boldly and be specific. Picture the relationships you have, the places you live, the work you're doing, and the people you're impacting. This is your 10-year destination, your true north. Write it all down. Number two, work backwards with milestones. Once you can see the end, it's time to reverse engineer the journey. For each 10-year goal, define your 5-year milestone. Ask yourself, if I'm going to get to my 10-year vision, where should I be by year 5? In this step, it's important to acknowledge, what do I need to accomplish by year 5 that will move me towards that 10-year goal? This creates a bridge between the dream and the plan. Number 3, define your 1 to 2 year priorities. Now let's zoom in even further. From your 5-year goals, identify your top 1 to 2 priorities for the next 1 to 2 years. These are things you must focus on now to create real momentum. At this stage, your goals should be specific, measurable, and time bound, something you can track and celebrate as you accomplish them. Number 4, define your 90-day priorities. Finally, we bring it all the way down to the present moment. For each 1 year goal, choose 2 to 3 actionable steps you can take in the next 90 days. These are not vague intentions, they are concrete actions you can put on your calendar. The beauty of this process is that when you break your vision down like this, the impossible becomes possible, the overwhelming becomes achievable. When you map out your goals this way, you're no longer just dreaming, you're building. This is your strategic roadmap for the next decade of your life, and it will keep your vision measurable, actionable, and aligned with God's timing. Remember, you don't have to do everything at once. Just take the next right step, and then the next. And before you know it, you'll be standing in the very vision you once wrote down. This 3 part exercise will guide you through defining your long range vision, then breaking it down into practical, time bound priorities you can actually walk out. You'll explore your future across 4 key areas of life because true vision is holistic, not one dimensional. So let's go over those categories one more time. The 4 vision categories are: 1, relationships and environments. This covers the people you're connected to and the spaces you live in. For example, what kind of marriage or family culture do you want? What kind of friendships, mentors, or community do you desire? Do you envision a peaceful home, a certain city, land, or lifestyle? Are you dreaming of a healthier home environment, relocation, or building generational legacy in your family? Number 2, calling and contribution. This focuses on your purpose, work, and impact on the world. For example, what types of business, ministry, or career do you see yourself operating in? What kind of financial lifestyle do you want to steward? Who are the people you feel called to serve? What legacy do you want to create through your gifts, message, or professional calling? Number 3, spiritual growth and identity. This highlights your inner world, who you're becoming, and how you walk with God. For example, what does a spiritually mature version of you look like? What habits, disciplines, and character traits do you want to embody? What level of confidence, healing, boldness, or wholeness are you believing for? What kind of prophetic clarity, discernment, or relationship with God do you want to cultivate? Number 4, adventure and expansion. This is about the fullness of life, joy, exploration, and the experiences you want to have. For example, what places do you want to travel to? Maybe you've always wanted to travel overseas. Are there new skills, languages, hobbies, or experiences you want to try? Do you dream of mission trips, retreats, or adventures with your family? What desires has God placed in your heart for fun, freedom, or just expansion? So let's start with step 1, envision the next 10 years. I really want you to spend some time this week. I want you to try to set aside at least 20 minutes of your time this week. Be in a place where you can be alone and really have time to reflect on this exercise, because this is your time to dream big without limitations, without fear, and without trying to figure out how it will happen. I want you to ask yourself, if everything aligned with God's plan for my life, what would the next 10 years look like? Ask yourself, if there were no limitations on my vision, what would that look like? Move through each of the 4 foundational categories and allow yourself to imagine boldly. What do I want my relationships and environment to look like? How do I want to contribute through my calling? Who do I want to become spiritually and personally? What adventures and experiences do I want to explore? No dream is too big, nothing is too much. This is your opportunity to partner with God in vision before reality tries to limit you. Write freely and let your heart speak. Use a notebook, use your workbook pages, or multiple sheets if necessary. The deeper and more specific you go, the clearer your direction becomes. Step two, narrow it down to your 5 year milestones. Now that you've created a bold 10-year vision, the next step is to bring it closer to the present. This part of the exercise helps you to translate your future dream into clear milestones, the major markers that need to happen within the next 5 years to keep you on track. Think of your 10-year vision as the destination. Your 5 year milestones are the halfway marker on that road. Your goal in step two is really to identify the key shifts, achievements, and levels of growth you want to reach by year five in each of the four areas of your life. How to complete this step. I want you to take another 10, 20 minutes. If it takes 30 or longer, do it. And really look back over your 10-year list. Then choose 2 to 3 major goals per category that represent realistic but meaningful progress towards the long term vision. Here's what this looks like across the four categories. Number one, relationships and environments. Some 5 year examples could be ask yourself what needs to be true about my relationships or living environments in 5 years for my 10-year vision to stay on track. For example, be living in a more peaceful city, state, or home that supports your lifestyle, strengthened, healthy marriage or partnership, deeper communication and unity, building a close circle of aligned friends, mentors, and support systems, creating a home environment that reflects peace, order, and stability, beginning the process of relocating, purchasing land, or expanding your family. These aren't the full 10-year outcomes, but they are the in progress markers. Number two, calling and contribution. Here are some 5 year examples. First, I want you to ask yourself what major milestones in my purpose or career must happen by year five. And some examples of this could be launching or scaling a business, ministry, or a creative project, hitting specific revenue or impact goals, becoming known for your message or your experience, or even just your gifts, hiring your first team member or building an organized structure, completing certificates, degrees, or training connected to your calling. These should feel important, directional, and tied to the bigger vision. Number three, spiritual growth and identity. Here are some 5 year examples. But first, ask yourself, how do I want to grow in identity, confidence, and spiritual maturity over the next 5 years? And some examples of this could be developing consistent rhythms of prayer, study, fasting, or devotion, healing major emotional roots or identity related wounds, growing in prophetic clarity, discernment, or leadership, walking in greater emotional resilience and self mastery, becoming someone who moves with confidence, boldness, and peace. These milestones reflect who you are becoming internally, not just what you're doing externally. Number four, adventure and expansion. Here are some 5 year examples of this. But first, ask yourself what experiences, breakthroughs, or expansions would make the next 5 years joy filled and growth filled. So, some examples of this could be traveling to 2 or 3 bucket list destinations. Really think about your bucket list. Where are some places that you've seen in magazines or on TV that you have just dreamed, yearned, ached to want to see in real life? Write all those things down. And maybe it's taking a dream trip, a retreat, a mission experience, or a family adventure. How about learning a new skill, hobby, or creative passion? Maybe it's stepping into experiences outside of your comfort zone or creating more freedom and fun in your lifestyle. These represent the lifefulness you want as you grow. Your 5 year milestone list is important. Now choose the most meaningful of the 2 to 3 milestones per category. These should be ambitious but achievable, aligned with your 10-year vision, and significant enough to move you forward in a big way. When you finish, you'll have a powerful midway roadmap that bridges your future dreams with the actions you'll take in the coming months and years. This is where long term vision becomes real and reachable. Step number three, define your 1 to 2 year priorities. Now that you've identified your 5 year milestones, it's time to bring your vision even closer into the next 12 and 24 months. This is where your long term goals begin transforming into focused, actionable priorities that create real momentum. Your 1 to 2 year priorities represent the critical steps you must take now to stay on track for your 5 year and your 10-year outcomes. Think of this as zooming in from the mountain peak to the path right beneath your feet. Your goal in step three is to choose the top 1 to 2 priorities per category, what you want to accomplish within the next 1 to 2 years. These are not long term dreams anymore. These are your immediate focus areas. So I really want you to spend some time reviewing your 5 year milestones and identifying the most important actions that need to happen in the near term. So, number one, with relationships and environments, ask yourself what relational or environmental shifts must I begin working on now to align with my long term vision? Some examples of this could be improving daily routines and communication within your household, beginning the financial or logical planning for relocation, creating a more peaceful home environment like decluttering, organizing, or redecorating. How about intentionally nurturing friendships that align with your values, or setting healthier boundaries and releasing draining relationships? Joining a community, group, or even a group mentorship that supports where you're going. These are practical, achievable steps that move your relational life forward. Number two, calling and contribution. Ask yourself, what is the most important work I can do in the next year or two that will advance my calling? Some examples could be launching a new offer, course, book, or business, consistently creating content or building your brand presence, gaining clarity on your niche, audience, or message, hitting your first revenue tier, or building your first product suite, building systems, structures, or foundations for your business or ministry, completing training or certifications needed for your next level. These priorities are the stepping stones to your 5 year calling milestones. Number three, spiritual growth and identity. Ask yourself, how do I want to grow spiritually and personally in the next 12 to 24 months? Some examples could be establishing consistent spiritual disciplines, and this is going to include things like prayer, fasting, or studying your Bible, starting therapy, soul work, or inner healing sessions, overcoming core limiting beliefs, mindsets, or emotional triggers, attending a retreat, mentorships, or discipleship programs, practicing confidence, boldness, or public speaking, building daily habits that align with your identity in Christ. These are the transformative internal shifts that prepare you for the future God is building. Number four, adventure and expansion. What experiences can I step into in the next year or two that stretch me or bring life into my journey? Some examples could be planning one meaningful trip or experience, trying a new hobby, skill, or activity that excites you, attending an event, conference, or workshop outside of your comfort zone, taking small expansion steps like hiking, exploration, or creative expression, creating more time for fun, rest, or exploration in your schedule. These bring joy, growth, and expansion into your life now, not someday. Remember, choose the 1 to 2 goals in each category that feel most aligned with your 5 year milestones, most achievable in the next 12 to 24 months, most likely to create momentum, most important for your personal growth, spiritual growth, or calling. These are your highest value goals, the ones that shift your life forward with purpose and clarity. Once you complete step three, you'll be ready to move into the final part of the process, which is transforming these 1 to 2 year priorities into 90-day action steps that you can execute immediately. Now that you've brainstormed your 10-year vision, narrowed it to your 5-year milestones, and identified your 1 to 2 year priorities, it's time to bring complete clarity to the season you're stepping into right now. This step helps you focus your energy, establish direction, and create priorities you can actually follow. So, what are vision anchors? Vision anchors are the 4 priority goals that matter most in your life right now, the ones that will create the greatest momentum toward your long term vision. They're called anchors because they stabilize your focus, ground your decisions, and keep you aligned with God's given direction. You'll choose one key goal from each of the 4 foundational areas. One, the relationship and environment. This anchor represents the relational and environmental shift that will strengthen the foundation of your life. And some examples of this are creating a peaceful and organized home environment, strengthening communication in your household or your marriage, building healthier boundaries, preparing for relocation, or cultivating deeper friendships and support systems. Number 2, calling and contribution. This anchor reflects the most important goal connected to your purpose, work, or impact. And some examples of this are launching a new offer, program, book, or business, establishing your brand, message, or audience preference, improving financial systems or business structures, completing training needed for your calling, increasing revenue or impact in a focused way. Number 3, spiritual growth and identity. This anchor captures the internal transformation you want to prioritize. For example, developing spiritual disciplines like prayer, devotion, fasting. Could include healing emotional roots and limiting beliefs, building confidence, boldness, or discipline, strengthening your identity in Christ, or growing in prophetic clarity and discernment. Number 4, adventure and expansion. This anchor highlights the experiences that bring joy, growth, and expansion into your life. For example, planning a meaningful trip or retreat, trying a new skill, hobby, or activity, creating more rest, fun, and exploration, attending an event, conference, or workshop, incorporating small moments of adventure in your routine. Now, how do we complete this step? I want you to take some time and really look at your 1 to 2 year priority list for all 4 of these categories. From each category, I want you to choose one goal that, one, feels the most aligned with what God is calling you to steward, two, will create the greatest momentum if you focus on it, three, support your long term vision in a meaningful way, four, sparks excitement, purpose, or clarity when you think about it. These 4 become your vision anchors for the next season. Write them clearly and boldly. These are your compass points, your north, south, east, and west. Once you've identified your 4 vision anchors, it's time to create the first steps towards activating them. So for each anchor, ask yourself, what 2 to 3 actions can I take in the next 90 days to initiate this goal? The key is starting, not perfecting. So here are some examples of some 90-day action steps that you could actually take and that could be helpful. In section 1, for relationships and environment anchors, this could include declutter and reorganize one room per month. Start weekly family meetings or communication rhythms. Research potential relocation areas. Schedule quality time or connection building activities. 2, for the calling and contribution anchor, this could include things like outline your first offer, program, or content series. Record weekly content or create a posting schedule. Build a simple financial or business system. Enroll in training or complete certification steps. Number 3, spiritual growth and identity anchors. Set a daily devotional or prayer routine. Schedule therapy, coaching, or inner healing sessions. Read one growth centered book per month. Practice declarations or mindset rewiring exercises. And four, adventure and expansion anchors. Start planning one trip, retreat, or local adventure. Try a new hobby or class. Schedule a day each month for exploration, creativity, or rest. Attend one experience that stretches your comfort zone. Remember, your vision anchors equal your starting point. These four anchors give you clarity. Your 90-day steps give you momentum. Together, they create movement toward your God given future. Every step you take in the next season will be guided by these four priorities. And as you honor them, you'll begin to see your long term vision unfolding, one decision, one action, one anchor at a time. Before we close out this section, I want you to take a deep breath and really let this truth settle in. You're not expected to have your entire life figured out today. This is a beginning, not a deadline. Everything that you're going to work through with building your 10-year vision, the 5-year milestones, and the 1 to 2 year priorities, and how that all leads into your vision anchors, these are not rigid commands. They are living blueprints. They grow as you grow, they shift as God leads you, they expand as your faith expands. So I want you to give yourself full permission to take your time with this exercise. There is no rush. There is no right or perfect answer. There's only clarity unfolding, one layer at a time. Some of you may write with incredible detail and see the future clearly. Others of you may still feel like you're putting pieces together. Both are valid, both are welcomed, both are part of the process. Vision unfolds in stages, understanding unfolds in seasons, and God reveals direction as you move, not all at once. So if something feels incomplete right now, that's okay. If you feel like you could add more later, that's good. If new ideas come to you tomorrow or next week, write them down. Your blueprint is allowed to grow. In fact, it should grow. This is not about locking yourself into a plan. This is about partnering with God to build a future that reflects His intentions for your life. So, as you sit with your goals, your milestones, and your anchors, keep this in mind. Clarity is built, not born. You discover it by showing up, by dreaming, by writing, by reflecting, and by listening to the whispers of God in your spirit. Take as much time as you need with this work. Revisit it often. Update it when new revelation comes. Let it evolve as you evolve. And most importantly, give yourself grace. Big picture vision isn't created in a moment, it's created through moments, conversations, experiences, prayers, and steps of faith. You don't have to get everything right in this season. You simply have to begin. So, as you move on to the next part of this journey, hold your blueprint in open hands. Let it shape you. Let it stretch you. Let it inspire you. Let it remind you that God has written something extraordinary over your life, and you are simply uncovering it piece by piece. Your vision is allowed to grow. You are allowed to grow, and this blueprint will grow with you. Take your time, be honest, be detailed, be bold, and trust that every step you take from here is building the future you were created for.